Okay, so first and foremost, this is not scripted. This is not planned. There are no notes. This is just a very casual discussion to myself. And if necessary, I will delete this with extreme prejudice. So please, you need to manage your expectations about what you're about to see. Do not complain if it's disorganized. It's a live stream. It is not a traditional YouTube video. Okay, so I am working on a novel or novels. I just in the last weekend, this last weekend, I have decided to double the number of books that I'm working on by adding two prequels. Now, the thing that the dynamic that changes is that effectively whatever the first book is in the series will be that becomes very important, even though not until 24 hours ago did it even exist. So, but this is the important part about this is that the first book that I've come up with is very simple relative to the two books that I've been struggling with, and it's only been like that after having figured out how to do the very complex novels that I've come to the point where I can like knock out a pretty simple two novels, because they're much simpler. Like they're much less ambitious because they're pretty linear. The other two novels that I'm working on, there are a lot of moving parts, a lot, and so as such, I have to. That's what's taken me so long, and also not until now when I have some sense of perspective that I go backwards in time and flesh out my universe. Anyway, there were lots of people not lots of people. There were people who said just write 3 years ago. They were very adamant that I should just write. And if I had followed their advice, I would not be where I am today. I would have gotten frustrated and just quit. So I'm very pleased I did not follow their advice. Because that was just not. I know why they were saying it. They were saying it because they wanted to be my Colonel Tom Parker. They wanted to sort of be a parasite. They wanted to. If I just wrote, then they could like ingratiate themselves into the writing process to the point where they were telling me what to do. Now, having gotten rid of them out of my life, I'm much like, okay, I'm the writer, you're the reader. So that was what I sort of dodged a bullet on that one. I'm so angry about that. Anyway, it's the thing about YouTube is you never know. I mean, I know I have enemies, and I know people sort of hate watch stuff that I do online. I'm well aware of that. I'm well aware that I have people but there are a sizable number of people who do not like me for various reasons. And so you never know. I always get a little on YouTube because YouTube is notorious for being full of hateful people. I never know why the motives of people who are watching this. There's like one person watching this right now, and I'm like, does that person hate my guts? Anyway, the great irony is that I am quite interesting and quite fun to be around. I'm not saying I don't have my sharp edges, but I think everybody has the sharp edges, and I know. I mean, especially on YouTube. I mean, I know that if you don't fit the construct of the YouTube video that people will come at you with the long knives because they are very hateful. But I started this by saying that this is not going to be your traditional YouTube video. This is just me casually talking. I just wanted to talk and record it. But I do think if you are interested in writing, that you can glean something out of this. It's very disorganized, though. I didn't make any notes. And also, I think the thing about live streams is that to me, the fun of it is that there are no notes. You just casual talk extemporaneously. I will say that when I was on Blab, the YouTube people were always the most driven by monetization. Like they were obsessed with monetization. It was very interesting. That culture was a culture clash because Blab was mostly people who either had a lot of time on their hands because they were very poor, or a lot of time on their hands because they were very wealthy. So anyway, it's very interesting how few people believe in me. I know why there are very few people who believe in me, but I also I believe in myself, regardless of if anyone believes in me or not. I think there's at least a chance. I mean, it's taking a lot longer than it should, but and no one's patient, and everyone just takes a snapshot of my life and goes, "Okay, loser." But I think if you know what I know, then you know that there's a decent chance I can pull a rabbit out of my hat. But the thing I've learned is if you're working on a novel or novels, you have to believe in yourself absolutely, because no one owes you anything. No one owes you anything, and people will just not give you any support. They will actively work to hurt you and to bring you down. And so the best thing to do is just not talk about it. But I'm 100% extroverted and I cannot help myself. So anyway, the point is that I'm really pleased with what I've come up with for the 2 extra novels, and it helps because I have mapped out. I know how I write a novel, and so to come up with 2 new novels that are much simpler than the 2 novels that have been causing me such trouble, it's a way of essentially switching gears when necessary, but staying in universe. I don't have to change. I don't have to think up anything new for the universe because it's in the universe that I've been working on, which really speeds the process up considerably, which is very, very refreshing. Once I finish these 4 novels, I'm going to change gears dramatically. I'm going to go to sci-fi. I don't drop dead of a heart attack like Stieg Larsson. I'm going to write me some sci-fi novels. But I will only do that because I will, hopefully, if I've sold novels, I will have the resources necessary to be able to travel the world or have an assistant who will be able to read all the books I need to read to write some pretty cool novels, sci-fi novels. Anyway, I don't know if anyone's going to watch this. First and foremost, I may delete this. If anyone says anything nasty, I will just delete it. But second of all, I have a history of doing videos like this on YouTube and absolutely no one watching it, which I guess is a good thing. Godspeed.